Okay, so I need to talk to you about tomorrow, and honestly, I think most people have no idea what's about to happen. Tomorrow, Sunday, February 15th, the moon enters Aquarius, and I know that might sound like just another lunar transit, but this one is different. I really believe this is the moment everything clicks, the moment when all the heaviness and confusion of the past few days suddenly makes sense. Because something is about to break open, and I don't think you're going to be the same person on Monday morning that you are right now. And here's what's really getting my attention. This isn't happening in isolation. 2 days ago, on Thursday the 13th, Saturn just entered Aries. That was massive. Like, structurally massive. And now, just 30 hours later, the moon is stepping into Aquarius to activate everything Saturn just set into motion. It's like Saturn built the pressure, and tomorrow the moon is going to release it. If you've been feeling restless, anxious, or like you're on the edge of something you can't quite name, there's a reason for that. And you're definitely not imagining it. Now, if you've been dealing with this weird buzzing sensation in your body lately, or if you've been waking up in the middle of the night feeling wired for no reason, stay with me on this one. There's a very specific reason that's happening, and I'm going to break it down for you later in this video. But first, I think you need to understand what's actually going on tomorrow, because this moon ingress isn't just bringing emotional shifts. I believe it's dismantling 3 specific patterns that have been keeping you stuck. And once they break, there's no going back to how things were. The setup, why tomorrow is different from every other moon transit. So here's the thing most people don't realize about tomorrow. They think it's just the moon moving from Capricorn into Aquarius, a normal lunar shift. But that's not the full picture. For the past few days, you've been under the influence of Saturn in Aries, and if you don't know what that means, let me explain it this way. Saturn is the planet of structure, discipline, and karma. It's the teacher, the builder, the one that says, time's up on whatever you've been avoiding. And it just moved into Aries, which is the sign of initiation, action, and raw courage. This is the cosmic equivalent of a starting gun going off. The energy went from wait and see to move now in an instant. Have you felt that shift, that sudden urgency? But here's where it gets interesting. The moon in astrology is our emotional body. It's how we process, how we feel, how we respond to everything happening around us. And tomorrow, when the moon enters Aquarius, a sign ruled by Saturn, it's like the emotional body is reporting directly to this newly activated Saturn in Aries. What does that mean for you? It means the breakthrough isn't just mental, it's not just spiritual. I think it's going to hit you emotionally, physically, in your nervous system, in your body. You're going to feel this. And the wildest part? This is all happening just 2 days before the solar eclipse in Aquarius on Tuesday. So tomorrow isn't the end of this energy. It's the beginning. It's the clearing, the preparation, the moment when the old you starts to fall away so the new you can emerge on Tuesday. If that sounds intense, it's because it is. But here's what I want you to understand. This intensity is necessary. Because there are 3 patterns that have been running your life for way too long. And tomorrow, I believe they're going to break. And honestly, that was a huge realization for me when I started to understand what was happening. Pattern 1. Breaking free from performative harmony. Okay, so the first pattern that's breaking tomorrow has to do with your relationships, and if you've been feeling this strange tension around certain people lately, like you just can't fake it anymore, this is why. Tomorrow morning at 7, Venus squares Lilith. Now, if you're not into astrology, let me just explain what that means in plain terms. Venus is the planet of love, harmony, and connection. It's currently in Pisces, which makes it extra compassionate, extra forgiving, extra willing to merge and sacrifice for others. But Lilith? Lilith is the opposite. She's the raw, primal feminine energy that refuses to be tamed. She's the part of you that won't bow down, won't play small, won't smile when you're screaming inside. She's autonomy, she's rage, she's truth without the filter. And when these 2 energies clash tomorrow, something's going to snap. Does that resonate? I think what's breaking here is what I'd call performative harmony. It's that pattern where you prioritize everyone else's comfort over your own truth, where you stay silent to keep the peace, where you convince yourself that being spiritual means never setting boundaries or expressing the ugly emotions like anger or jealousy. And here's the thing, you might have been doing this without even realizing it. Maybe you've been telling yourself that love means accepting everything, that being a good person means never saying no, that if you just keep giving, keep accommodating, keep bending, eventually everything will work out. But tomorrow, I don't think your body is going to let you do that anymore. The polite smile is going to falter. The automatic yes is going to turn into a no before your mind can stop it. You might find yourself suddenly unable to pretend that everything is fine when it's not. And if that happens to you, I really want you to know, you're not being mean, you're not failing at love. I believe you're actually integrating something really important. You're learning that true harmony can handle truth, that a relationship that requires you to suppress yourself isn't actually a relationship, it's a performance. This aspect is forcing you to bring together the saint and the sinner, the part of you that wants to be good and the part of you that refuses to be a doormat. And when those two parts finally meet, that's when you become whole. So tomorrow, if you find yourself suddenly repelled by certain dynamics, if you feel this inexplicable urge to speak up or walk away, that's not you being difficult. I think that's your soul refusing to play the old role anymore. And honestly, that's a beautiful thing, even when it doesn't feel comfortable. Pattern 2, breaking free from identity stagnation. The second pattern breaking tomorrow is about who you think you are, and if you've been feeling bored with your own life lately, like you're watching yourself from the outside and thinking, is this really it? This is for you. Here's what's happening astrologically. The Sun in Aquarius is moving into an exact square with Uranus in Taurus. This perfects early Monday morning, but tomorrow, as the Moon enters Aquarius, it's going to activate this tension ahead of time, and I think you're already feeling it. The Sun represents your ego, your identity, the story you tell yourself about who you are. Uranus is the planet of awakening, shock, and sudden liberation. And when these two clash, it's like a lightning strike hitting your sense of self. Now, I want to be really clear about what this feels like, because I've experienced this myself. It doesn't always start as a crisis. Sometimes it starts as this profound, suffocating boredom. You look in the mirror and you don't recognize the person staring back, not because you've changed, but because you haven't. You're still playing the same role you've been playing for years, and your soul is screaming for something different. Maybe you're the responsible one in your family, and you're exhausted from carrying everyone. Maybe you define yourself by your job, and suddenly that identity feels hollow. Maybe you've been the victim in your own story for so long that you don't know how to be anything else. This is what I mean by identity stagnation. It's when you cling to old labels and roles because they feel safe, even when they're suffocating you. And tomorrow, I think that safety net is going to disappear. The breakthrough comes when you realize that security is actually an illusion, that the only real safety lies in being adaptable, in being willing to reinvent yourself when the old version no longer fits. Astrologers talk about this energy like finding a weird, daring outfit in the back of your closet and finally having the courage to wear it. It's permission to be eccentric, to deviate from the script, to be the black sheep or the alien or whoever you actually are underneath all the conditioning. And if that sounds scary, I get it. But here's what I really want you to hear. This isn't about becoming someone else. I believe it's about finally becoming yourself. The version of you that isn't performing for approval. The version that isn't trying to fit into boxes that were never meant for you in the first place. Tomorrow you might feel this sudden impulse to change something, your appearance, your routine, your entire life direction. And when that urge hits, don't dismiss it as impulsive or reckless. I think that's your higher self finally breaking through the static. That's your soul saying, it's time. Pattern 3, breaking free from passive waiting. And this brings me to the third pattern, the deepest one, the one that's been running in the background of everything else. And honestly, this one hit me the hardest when I figured it out. This pattern is about waiting for permission, waiting for the right time, waiting for a sign from the universe telling you it's safe to move forward. And if you've been stuck in this pattern, I really believe tomorrow is when it ends. Remember how I said Saturn just entered Aries 2 days ago? This is the backdrop for everything happening tomorrow. Saturn in Pisces for the past 2.5 years has been this slow, foggy energy. It was a time of surrender, of dissolution, of feeling like you were swimming through molasses trying to make progress. And in that energy, waiting made sense. Going with the flow made sense. Trusting divine timing made sense. But Saturn in Aries, that's a completely different frequency. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's the spark of life, the primal I am, the impulse to take action. And Saturn moving into this sign is like the universe saying, the waiting room is closed. Tomorrow, when the moon enters Aquarius and reports to this newly activated Saturn, I think you're going to feel this shift in your bones. The breakthrough is the realization that no one is coming to save you. The permission slip you've been waiting for? You have to sign it yourself. And here's the part that really makes this intense. Saturn in Aries brings what astrologers call instant karma. The delay between action and consequence is removed, which means when you move, you get immediate feedback. When you wait, you stagnate immediately. This is the end of spiritual bypassing. No more telling yourself you're manifesting when you're actually just procrastinating. No more using alignment as an excuse for fear. Tomorrow, I think the universe is going to push you to take action, even imperfect, messy, scary action, because that's the only way forward now. The shift is from dreaming to doing, from victim to author, from passenger to driver, and if you've been feeling this restless, almost frantic energy building inside you, that's why. Your soul knows it's time to move, and it won't let you stay comfortable in the waiting anymore. The nervous system activation you've been feeling. Remember at the beginning when I mentioned that buzzing sensation, the wired feeling in the middle of the night? Okay, this is it. Tomorrow's moon ingress into Aquarius has a very specific effect on the body. Aquarius rules the nervous system, the bioelectric field, the circulatory system. And when the moon moves through this sign, especially with all the other intense astrology happening, I think your body is going to respond. Some of you might experience a high-frequency buzzing or tingling, not anxiety exactly, but this electric anticipation. Like your nervous system is upgrading its operating system. Others might have trouble sleeping tonight or tomorrow night. Vivid dreams, sudden jolts awake, your psyche downloading new information even while your conscious mind is offline. And here's something I find really interesting. Some people report feeling restless in their bodies, like you physically can't sit still. You need to move, to pace, to get outside. That's not random. I believe that's your physical body mirroring the internal need to break free from stagnant patterns. Now, am I saying this is 100% caused by the astrological transits? No, I can't say that for certain, but is it a coincidence that so many people are reporting the exact same sensations at the exact same time, right as this massive cosmic shift is happening? That's for you to decide. If you are feeling this, though, I want you to know, this isn't anxiety, this isn't something wrong with you. I think this is your system recalibrating. Your frequency adjusting to match where you're going, not where you've been. The detachment that creates clarity. So here's the mechanism behind tomorrow's breakthrough, and this was a big aha moment for me. Aquarius is an air sign. It governs the mind, perspective, the ability to step back and see the bigger picture. And its superpower is emotional detachment. Now, when I say detachment, I don't mean suppression. I don't mean disconnection. What I mean is this. Aquarius can look at emotions like data points. It can zoom out from the story and see the pattern. Tomorrow, I think you're going to experience moments where you suddenly see your oldest, most painful patterns with crystal clarity. Not from inside the pain, but from above it. Like you've stepped out of the machine and can finally see how all the gears connect. You might look at a relationship that's been draining you for years and suddenly understand exactly how the dynamic works, why you keep repeating it, what you're getting from it, what it's costing you. And with that clarity comes choice. You might look at the identity you've been clinging to and suddenly see it's just a costume you put on a long time ago because you thought you had to. And with that seeing comes the permission to take it off. You might look at all the time you've spent waiting and suddenly realize you were never actually waiting for the right moment. You were waiting to feel brave enough. And tomorrow, I believe you're going to find that bravery. Not because the fear disappeared, but because the clarity made the choice obvious. This is why the moon in Aquarius is so powerful for breakthroughs. It gives you the emotional distance you need to make the change. You can't dismantle a pattern while you're still caught inside it. Tomorrow pulls you out, shows you the blueprint, lets you see where the wiring is faulty, and once you see it, you can't unsee it, and honestly, you won't want to. What Tuesday's eclipse is waiting for. I want to be really clear about something. Tomorrow isn't the destination, it's the preparation. On Tuesday, February 17th, there's a solar eclipse in Aquarius. This is a North Node eclipse, which means it's bringing in new energy, new timelines, new possibilities. It's a massive cosmic reset. And the eclipse happens at the 29th degree of Aquarius, which is what astrologers call an anaretic degree, a point of urgency and completion. What that means is this: the door is closing on the old version of you permanently, and the eclipse is opening the door to who you're becoming. But you can't walk through that new door carrying all the old baggage. You can't step into a new timeline while you're still performing in relationships that drain you, clinging to identities that bore you, and waiting for permission you were never going to get. That's why tomorrow matters so much. I think tomorrow is the clearing, the dismantling, the breaking free. Tomorrow creates the space for Tuesday's activation. And if you resist tomorrow's breakthroughs, Tuesday's eclipse might feel chaotic instead of clarifying. The three patterns breaking tomorrow: performative harmony, identity stagnation, passive waiting, those aren't just habits. I believe they're structural impediments to your next chapter. And the universe is removing them, forcefully if necessary, because where you're going, they can't come with you. How this might show up for you tomorrow. So let's get practical for a second. How is this actually going to feel? What should you be looking for? Tomorrow you might wake up and feel different. Maybe you'll have this strange sense of clarity you haven't had in weeks. Or maybe you'll feel this urgency, like something needs to change right now, and you can't wait anymore. You might find yourself having a conversation that needed to happen months ago, setting a boundary you've been too scared to set, saying something true that you've been holding back. And when it comes out, it might surprise you how easy it feels, not because the situation changed, but because something in you did. You might look at your calendar, your commitments, your daily routine, and suddenly see how much of it is just going through the motions, playing roles, maintaining appearances. And you might feel this deep knowing that it's time to let some of it go. Or you might feel pulled towards something new, a project you've been thinking about, a change you've been considering, an idea that keeps circling back. And tomorrow, instead of adding it to the someday list, you might actually take the first step. Some of you might experience this more internally, a shift in perspective, a sudden understanding of why something happened, a release of resentment or regret you've been carrying. Does that resonate? The point is, I don't think tomorrow is going to be subtle. This isn't a gentle whisper, this is a breakthrough, and breakthroughs are rarely quiet. Why some people won't feel this. Now, I want to be honest about something. Not everyone watching this is going to experience tomorrow the same way, and that's okay. If you've been doing the inner work, if you've been questioning your patterns, challenging your comfort zones, actively trying to grow, tomorrow might feel like a massive acceleration. Like everything you've been building toward suddenly clicks into place. But if you've been resisting change, if you've been clinging to the familiar even when it hurts, tomorrow might feel uncomfortable, maybe even chaotic, because the energy is still going to push, but instead of flowing with it, you'll be fighting against it. And then there are people who won't feel it at all because they're so disconnected from their inner world that these shifts just pass by unnoticed. They're living on autopilot, and the breakthrough happens around them instead of through them. If you're watching this video, I don't think that's you. I think you're here because some part of you knows something is shifting. You're paying attention, you're tuned in, and that awareness is going to make all the difference tomorrow. What you can do right now. So here's what I want you to take from this. Tomorrow is a gift. It's an opportunity to break free from patterns that have been running your life for way too long. And the best thing you can do is meet it consciously. Pay attention to what comes up for you. Notice the thoughts that feel suddenly clear, the emotions that feel suddenly urgent, the impulses that feel suddenly undeniable. If you feel called to have a difficult conversation, trust that. If you feel pulled to make a change, explore that. If you feel the need to let something go, honor that. And if you feel nothing at first, that's okay too. Sometimes the breakthrough happens quietly, internally, and you don't realize it shifted until you look back a week from now and notice you're responding to life completely differently. The key is to stay present, stay open, and most importantly, trust yourself, because I really believe that inner voice you've been hearing. Tomorrow it's going to get louder, clearer, and you're going to have a choice. Listen to it and move, or ignore it and stay stuck. I know which one I think you're going to choose. Alright, if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. Seriously, it means a lot that you stayed with me through all of this. If this resonated with you and you want more content like this, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know. And please drop your experiences in the comments tomorrow. I really want to hear what shifts for you, what patterns break, what clarity comes through. Because I think we're all in this together, and your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Take care of yourself tomorrow. Stay open, trust the process, and I'll see you tomorrow.